It's been 45 years. Can you believe it? How time flies. Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. It's been 45 years, and let me tell you, how has the world changed? It really has. You know, when I was a kid, I started with rotary phones. Eventually we got the dial phone, right? And now we have smartphones. When I was a kid, there was 8 tracks. My very first boom box was an 8-track that my mom got me. Then we had, of course we had records, we had tapes, CDs, and now streaming. I grew up on sitcoms, watching TV, watching the network, Saturday morning cartoons, all things that are gone. But let me ask you, is it a better experience today? Is gaming a better experience today than it was back then? I would say no. Right? I don't think it's the same. I think we're in the golden age of access when it comes to gaming. A lot of people say we're in the golden age of gaming. For access, yes, you can get anything you want. But the gaming experience is, at least in my point of view, having lived all of it, and I feel very lucky of having lived all periods so far of gaming, I have to say the 80s, 90s, and even the early 2000s were a much better experience than what we have today. Right? You're not going to tell me, or nobody's going to be able to convince me that somebody on Twitch in that environment is having a better time than we did growing up, going to the mall, going to the arcade, or even playing with our friends once we had a console at home, side by side. You want to tell me Twitch is a better experience? Have you seen the people on Twitch? Just in general, right? If you look at all the people across all sectors of gaming, the ones that are most popular are not the ones that are most, how would I say, normal? Right? We love watching car accidents, if you will, and that's what's popular today. The experiences we had were very different. Right? We were playing with our friends after school. You get out of school, we would go either to the ice cream shop, because they had video games there. We would go to the arcade itself, or we would go to the mall. We'd go to the mall and go to the arcade at the mall and have a great time. We had no social media. Social media was the mall. We played outside. All the memes that you see out there. But specifically when it comes to gaming, we had a better experience. Are the graphics better today? Yes, of course they are. Is the equipment better? Yes, no doubt. But the gaming experience is different. Now, I realize that most of my audience is younger than me, right? So you lived through a different era than I did, but some are my same age. And you can compare, right? I can look out at my street, and there's never a day where I see kids playing outside. Not one. Not in this country. It's very few times that I see kids playing outside. When I was growing up, everybody was playing outside, or everybody was at the mall, or everybody was at the movie theater. I'm very lucky that I'm able to have a home here in the U.S., and I know I have new viewers now. My other home is in the Philippines. The one thing I do love about the Philippines is that they love the mall. I still get the mall experience, right? Everybody goes to the mall, everybody goes to socialize to the mall, everybody meets up there, and it makes me reminisce. It's hard to convince people of today that there was a different time. There's very few of us left, and even fewer every year. I've lost so many friends. Some of you are going through the same thing. You're losing friends, right? And that's what really got me thinking. My friends from that time that were arcade players that we, sometimes played at home, no longer game. I'm the only one who actually games. They left gaming once the arcade scene was done. They're arcade players, pretty much, right? And we were talking about that. That is the experience that we had. That's the bonding that drew us together back in the day. That no longer exists, right? You may have friendships that you can make, across the world. You can play with strangers, right? You can be in the chat room, but it's not the same experience as playing with your neighbors. If you think about it, the arcades, the malls, everything taught us about community, taught us about bonding, where when you're competing against somebody face to face in gaming, like in the arcades, you have to go through it right there. It's very easy on social media to say insult anybody, right? You could just go and troll them, whatever it is. You couldn't do that in real life. If you really dislike somebody, you had to take care of business right there, or if they disliked you, right? It built character. You learn how to lose, you learn how to win, and you learn how to interact. We didn't have all the social ills that people complain about. I just saw somebody complain about them having to work while they went to high school. I come from a generation where I started working when I was 14 years old. I never stopped. I've been working since I was 14. You know, I see people in college complain about having to work and going to college, or, you know, high school complain about it. It's just a different society. Is it better? I think not. I think, you know, tough men build good times and make soft people. I think that's some of it, but a lot of it is the environment has changed, right? They no longer have the opportunities that we had growing up. Let me tell you, I'm glad I was around for all of it. I'm sad to not be around my friends that are no longer here, the people that didn't get to enjoy the whole journey with us. I'm sure glad I'm blessed enough to have experienced it all, you know, and hopefully there's a lot of people living, you know, and speaking about the legacies of the things that we've been through, of the things we've seen, because they are incredible, the times that we lived. From the first time that I put that quarter on Galaxian, the world was a different place. We were fighting with the Russians, right? Now we're in a day where the Russians are not our greatest enemy, it's the Chinese. It's a completely different world, right? We're in a world now where we're acknowledging that there might be UFOs flying around, and guess what? Back in the day, it would have been the biggest story in the world. Today, yeah, sure. Nobody cares. Sometimes it's I'm living in a different planet. But at the end of the day, I am from a different time. You know, when I look at myself, when I look at the camera, when I see the gray, sometimes it's not the person that I picture myself playing at the arcade or playing these games. But time forgives no one. Not even us. We grew up thinking that we were immortal, that we were the special generation. And I think in many ways we were. What makes you special is what you do, not what you say. And that's probably what is lost in, you know, during all these years in translation. Good people do good things, as they say. You know, and that's what I try to do. I don't always succeed, right? I'm a human like everybody else. Everybody can falter. But at the end of the day, guys, I think that we are very blessed to have lived through this generation. For those of you who experienced the ride with me, man, what a ride it has been. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Please like, subscribe, join. Tell me how you feel about this ride. What's the first game that you ever put a quarter into? The first video game that I put a quarter into was Galaxian. If we would have saved all those quarters, we'd probably be millionaires, but you know what? Our life would not be richer. All right, humans, I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.